I'm going to be honest with you, I'm at the point right now where it's going to be difficult for me to find things to talk about because I simply do not care about this series. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Do or do not. There is no try.
So we are now 4 episodes down and 2 to go. And my general feelings on this series is that it truly did not need to exist. At least one of the writers associated with this series has already come out and admitted that they weren't fully aware of the events of Revenge of the Sith. At least not when they were pitching the show to Lucasfilm. It seems like an odd choice to choose someone who has very little knowledge of what came before, but it does seem like par for the course as it pertains to modern day Star Wars.
That makes sense.
And basically what it comes down to is that Lucasfilm shows us every day that they do not care enough about Star Wars to put the extra effort into it. So why should I? This show has added absolutely nothing to the established characters that we already didn't know. All it has done so far is to retroactively give us a reason why Leia would name her son Ben. That might even be the whole reason they made the show to begin with. But if you think all of this was planned from the beginning, then you're crazy. They can't even plan a trilogy, let alone an entire saga. This is basically Disney trying to fill holes that they themselves created.
Whoopie fucking do. Hey, I'm impressed.
But for some reason, a lot of people seem to be satisfied with reactionary, half-assed storytelling. So does it really matter? I guess not. When it comes right down to it, I feel like this show has done more damage to Obi-Wan's character than anything. Vader has been mostly Vader, and Leia has been mostly Leia, and the Inquisitor aspect of the show feels very shoehorned in. This whole episode is basically the mission to rescue Leia from captivity. Reva has her imprisoned on the Mustafar system, and is interrogating her about the underground Jedi support system.
I don't care!
I'm not sure why exactly a little girl would have this kind of information, but here we are. Reva tries to pull the information out of her with the Force, but is unsuccessful. Now, if it was me, this would send up a bunch of red flags. I think I would realize that maybe Leia is a bit more important than we actually thought. She must be pretty strong with the Force to be able to resist the mighty Reva, correct? I mean, not even Rey put up that much of a fight. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and the spy chick, her name is Tala by the way, I had to look it up because honestly, again, I don't care. They infiltrate this Empire base with her spy tactics and her security clearances. She even pulls rank at one point and tells the security officer to address her as Sir. You know what I thought about in this moment, right?
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
This is where my mind goes when I'm watching an inconsequential streaming series. Later, we have Reva becoming more and more frustrated with her lack of success interrogating Leia. And in typical Reva fashion, the more intimidating she tries to get, the more ridiculous her dialogue delivery becomes. And I gotta be honest, I'm still struggling to place her character in the Star Wars universe. So Reva's about to torture Leia Han Solo style, but she's interrupted by a distraction from Tala. It's a good thing she's around because otherwise Obi-Wan would be fucked. Reva suspects that Tala is a spy, which she is, but Tala somehow talks her way out of it.
Why?
Meanwhile, Obi-Wan frees Leia and contends with a barrage of stormtroopers. I have to say also that the lightsaber choreography looked a bit clunky to me here. I don't know how long Ewan McGregor worked on it, but I'm sure most people are just going to chalk it up to, well, Obi-Wan's just rusty. Just like everything else that doesn't make sense in this show.
That's right, it stinks!
There's a decent moment here where Obi-Wan is holding the water back in a crack in the hull, and he does it just long enough so he can use the water to drown some stormtroopers. This is the most we've seen him use the Force yet, so that was something, I guess. As Obi-Wan, Tala, and Leia make their escape, hiding Leia underneath a trench coat, they are eventually confronted by Reva and a whole bunch of stormtroopers. But luckily they have backup and 2 ships swoop in to save them. The ship with Obi-Wan, Tala, and Leia escapes, but the wingman wasn't so lucky. Reva blows his ship up. This is after she deflects some of his laser fire, cause she slays everything, I guess. Yes, Queen! Next we see a pissed off Darth Vader choking Reva because she allowed Obi-Wan and Leia to escape. I'm not gonna lie to you, part of me thought that she would somehow resist his power in this moment because, you know, reasons. And she didn't really, which was good, but she does convince him to let her go because she tells him that she put a tracker on them so the Empire could follow. Now, knowing Vader like I do, any kind of failure usually results in him killing that person.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
He pretty much has a zero tolerance policy most of the time. But not in this case. Somehow he was actually impressed with Reva in this situation. I just found it very difficult to buy into this entire exchange. The episode concludes with a lot of drama and mourning over this pilot that no one knows or cares about, and Leia holding Obi-Wan's hand to comfort him. Do I care? Do you care? Does anyone care? I'm sure someone does, but for the most part, not really. The writing on this show is completely lacking, and I'm not surprised considering who they put in charge of the show to begin with.
Here she comes to wreck the day!
Whether it's the dialogue or the situations they put the characters in, everything usually leaves me feeling underwhelmed. And it's starting to feel like by the end of the series, we're basically just going to be back where we started. Because they don't really have the freedom to do anything else, if A New Hope does in fact still mean anything. The entire series has been completely devoid of any kind of tension because we pretty much know the fate of everyone involved in it, outside of Reva and Tala, which most people don't really care about anyway. I'm ready for this series to be over, and honestly, I'm seriously reconsidering ever watching anything Disney Star Wars related again. But I probably will because, you know, content.
Fuck me, right?
Y'all be cool. Right on.